Thanks, Ken. This is my first time doing this, so I sort of got a little bit out of order here. We should have followed up with Andy Williams from CNX Insure because it actually ties into the whole visa and renewal process. So please welcome Andy. He's going to let you know how things work on your insurance end.
Hello there, good morning. Mine's going to be a bit shorter than I expected because Nico's covered a lot of what I was going to talk about. So I'm going to get into a little bit more details specifically about the OA visa and the insurance requirement for that. So I'm sure you all know that there was a requirement brought in, it was late 2019, and that you had to have to renew your OA visa. And your OA visa is a visa that you've got in your home country, and if you've done the process here, then you're on the O visa. And currently there's no requirement for the O visa on insurance, but I definitely do see that coming in the future. I certainly see that they're expanding it across to other visas. This LTR visa that was mentioned, there's an insurance requirement for that, the OA visa, and then also I think there's like a long-term tourist visa as well. So I think it's inevitable that it will be moved across to the O visa, but there's just a lot of creases to iron out first. So initially they brought in the regulation that you needed to have 400,000 baht inpatient cover and 40,000 baht outpatient cover. Now in the last few months that's been substantially lifted, and that's now been brought up to you need to have a minimum of 100,000 US dollars coverage. There's no outpatient requirement, so that's the equivalent of around about 3.5 million baht. Now, one of the frustrating things is that a lot of people, they already have insurance, they might have international insurance that's going to cover that requirement, but immigration are saying, well, we won't accept that, it has to be a Thai company. Now, the most recent announcement that I'm aware of is that they said they will accept that, but I think anyone who has a renewal coming up soon, unfortunately, they just haven't got that quite worked out yet. So if you show them your international insurance, they're not accepting that, as far as I'm aware. Nico would probably know more, he works more closely with immigration. Hopefully down the line they will start to accept the international insurance, so you'll be able to use that, and then you won't have to either have that and a Thai insurance, so you won't have to have two policies. And then the other option as well is, like Nico was saying, that a lot of people are switching over to the O visa, which means you're being able to dodge that bullet for the moment. But I do think down the line that it will come in, and they will require insurance for the O visa as well. I think it's understandable. I think it's fair enough that people should have insurance. But and then I've also heard that because not everyone can qualify for insurance, your medical history might prohibit you from getting insurance. So in that case, and Nico would know more about this, that they will accept a letter of refusal from the insurance company, and you'll be able to get your visa on that. But the rumour is, and it's nothing official yet, the rumour is that you would be able to use that, but you would also need X amount of money in your bank account, a lot more than the 800,000. So potentially more like 3.5 million in your bank account, which is a lot to have in there. So early stages at the moment. I'm hoping by this time next year, anyone who has insurance through me that has an international policy, they'll be able to use that, and you won't need to have two policies, and you won't need to change your visa. So that's pretty much it for that. I mean, I'm welcome to any questions that you might have.
Yes, one question. What's the age limit on your policies?
So typically, so if you're talking about, so at the moment, from what I understand, if you're applying for the OA visa outside the country, you can use international insurance. Now there's no age limit with that. You can get insurance up to age 90. Within the country, you need to use, you're still only accepting Thai insurance. The age limit on that is 75. So once you pass 75, then there's no option there.
absolutely no option above 75?
Yes, I do know. I do know one company that will accept it. So Pacific Cross. I work as a broker, so I have lots of different options available, and I know Pacific Cross do accept it after age 75, but it's not easy to get and it's very expensive.
Now, if you already have insurance and you turn 75, you can continue on the policy.
Absolutely, yes, that's right. Yeah, depending on the company. Some companies do have cut-off ages for application, and also cut-off ages for renewal. But typically, the insurers that we use tend to guarantee lifetime coverage once you're in.
And if you're an American outside international coverages, does that include Medicare, Part A, Part B, that type of stuff? Or?
Yeah, so actually someone asked me this earlier, that in theory, you know, in spirit of the thing, they want people to have insurance so that your medical bills can be paid. And in theory, yes, if you have Medicare Part A, Part B, or if you have like a VA insurance, you know, in the spirit of it, it should work. But I think it's far too complicated an issue for them to contact, you know, your insurer in the States, and they want to keep it as simple as possible.
I don't think any of that insurance is valid outside the U.S.
They say it is if you are in an accident, they will cover you. However, if you want to go see the doctor, they will cover you. You have to go back to the States. You know.
Federal employees insurance and military insurance is covered.
Thank you. I'm well over 75. I have an O visa, and coming down the train is the possibility of me having to get insurance. Now the reality is, insurance companies will not touch me because I'm over that age. I have applied previously for insurance in Thailand, and I can't get it. Now, not being American, I don't have the benefit of overseas insurance here. There isn't any. Now, what if I pay all this money for insurance for me? What would I actually get for my money?
Just peace of mind.
So,
It's a bummer, isn't it?
okay, so there's a few markers.
Quite a match.
There's a few markers. So, once you pass the age of 60, I would say 50% of the companies that would previously take you on as a new applicant will no longer do that. After age 65, 20% of them will take you on. After age 75, you're looking at 5% of them that will take you on. And of those 5%, you really want to get a good insurer because you want to make sure that they're going to pay for claims and so on and so forth. So you would get good insurance, you would get coverage. Not about you personally, but statistically, I think as people get over the age of 75, medical things start to happen, and so when you apply, depending on your medical history, they may or may not give you cover. Now, if you look very fit and healthy, so if they offered you cover, they would give you it, but it would be at a premium. Okay.
Do you think they would offer you or make you do a physical if you're over 75?
No, typically these days actually, that was more of a thing of the past where they get you to go for a medical. That's more with life insurance now. So with health insurance, there's a medical questionnaire to fill in, and that's it. And you know, and anyone who comes to speak to me, I say to them, you know, put everything down there, and then you know from day one where you are. You know what you're covered for, you know what you're not covered for, there's no surprises down the line. And if they refuse coverage, then you need to make a different plan, you know.
So what is that? So there is still a large number of people over the age of 75 who cannot get insurance, who have switched to O visas. And if insurance comes in for an O visa, is the only option then to leave Thailand and move back to your country or to your country? Is there going to be an option if no visa is available? No visa, no insurance is available?
Yes, I believe so. So, like, I mean, I've been living here for 21 years. I've been an insurance broker for 16 years, and you just see it when they throw something out there as kind of a rumour, and it's a bit of a sort of a tester, and then they either implement it or not, and quite a strong rumour, and it certainly makes sense, is that anyone that's in the category that you've just mentioned, if they can prove that they've been refused by the insurer, they cannot get insurance, then you will be able to get a certificate from or a refusal letter from the insurer. You would be able to show that to immigration in lieu of insurance. However, it's not as simple as that. From the other rumour, again, and I say rumour, it's nothing official, is that you would need more than 800,000 in the bank. So currently the insurance regulation is 3.5 million baht. Now what they've thrown out there at the start is to say that's what you'd have to have in your bank account, as well as a letter of refusal. And if you don't mind bringing in 3.5 million baht into a Thai bank account and leaving it there, then that would be the option. I'm sure that'll be redressed in the future, because that's a lot of money to bring in and leave sitting in a bank account.
So as a broker, is it
Oh, come on.
to get
You use the
a
microphone,
refusal from the
You need the
insurance?
microphone so that people can hear outside and later on. Please use the microphone, this plate will get it to you.
As a broker, is it
Yes.
easy to get a letter of refusal from the insurance companies?
So when you get refused insurance, yes, you do. You'll receive an email that says, unfortunately, we've not been able to give you cover based on this, and this condition. Now, again, as I say, because it's early days, like with anything here, I'm sure they'll require certain criteria within that letter that the insurer might not be able to give out at the start, but eventually those things will be ironed out. Insurers have a format that they follow, and to be told that they have to come up with a certain certificate. But I think that's what's going to happen. Because they don't want to turn people away. Really, they do want people to stay here, I'm sure.
In the past, we talked about U.S. insurance. When the government employees do have some coverage. I've seen a link back on the Bumrungrad Hospital in Bangkok that they will work in certain cases with U.S. insurers on medically necessary procedures. But this will vary widely by the number of procedures that they have and the number of insurers you have in the United States to this. But in certain cases, if you go to their website, they do work with some U.S. insurers.
Yeah, I mean, I can't comment on that. I could just give you my opinion and my experience, which is Bumrungrad is a very international hospital. They're very connected. I think most of their doctors have studied from the US, and I think you get a lot of people from the Middle East going there, and so yeah, I'd say that's. If you're asking my opinion, I think that's quite a unique feature. I don't think you could get that in other hospitals, yeah, I'm sure that's true. All right, thank you very much.